Today we're opening a listener file that it's more than just a crime. It's a story about a terrifying intrusion, some really baffling insider knowledge, and a piece of stolen property that just, well, it wouldn't stay gone.
It really wouldn't.
We're diving into a cold case update from Long Beach Island. It seems like this perfect, idyllic location, but it's hiding a truly chilling mystery.
And what's so striking about the sources here is the way the story shifts. We start with this really high tension, very personal crime, a home invasion.
Right.
But then years later, the trail picks back up and it pulls the story into this entirely different realm, something that feels more organized, almost like a local operation just acting right under everyone's noses.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really zoom in on the details of that original LBI beach house robbery, the just terrifying sequence of events that night. And then we're going to connect that to the really perplexing sighting that happened years later.
Yeah.
The one with a potential accomplice and a very chilling prop.
We have to figure out the level of pre-planning here. What connects that initial theft to what looks like a years-long cover-up?
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're going back to LBI 2024. This was not a simple break-in. It feels targeted from the start.
Absolutely.
So Charles's beach house, it's right on a lagoon, and the layout of the house is it's key to this whole thing.
Yeah.
You've got the front door, garage, a sliding door in the back.
And that spiral staircase.
That spiral staircase, yeah. It connects the upstairs deck directly to the ground level. It's like a purpose-built access point.
It's a deliberate route. It bypasses all the main floor security, which, that shows whoever planned this knew the property. Not just in a general way, but intimately.
Oh, they definitely did. So it's a classic summer night. We've got 6 friends, teenagers, maybe having a little too much fun by the pool. Music's playing.
Right.
And then Charles just cuts the music instantly because he sees something, some movement across the lagoon, a figure just standing on the opposite dock.
And this is where the dread really kicks in.
It does, because he tells his friends, the family who owns that house, they're supposed to be in Florida for the whole week.
So that house should be empty. It confirms they were being watched.
Okay.
That this was surveillance.
But the real moment of panic, the thing that turns it from creepy to terrifying, is when a car drives by and its headlights sweep across the dock.
And it's not one figure.
It's not one, it's 4. 4 tall silhouettes just standing at the edge of the dock, and they are looking directly at Charles's house.
4 of them. That's not random. That's a team. That's coordination. Suggests a really serious intent.
Charles just yells, "Go inside now!" And then comes the sound, the detail that really stuck with the narrator.
The splashes.
The sound of 4 consecutive splashes. They weren't just watching anymore. They were in the water, swimming right for them.
That sounds almost military precise, doesn't it? The immediate transition from observation to action.
It does. They rush inside, but in all the chaos, there's a huge mistake. They lock the front door, but Riley, one of the friends, he runs up that spiral staircase.
And he forgets to properly lock the sliding door on the deck upstairs.
He forgets. And just minutes after they hear those flashes, they get the confirmation, the sound of soft, quieted footsteps above us.
They're in the house?
They're in. Yeah. So they made the only call they could. They fled. A completely chaotic flight out of there, tearing out of the driveway so fast that Riley actually destroys Charles's mailbox on the way out.
Just pure panic.
Pure, unadulterated panic. And when the police finally arrive and search the house, everything of value from the top floor is gone.
But the really strange part, the central mystery, isn't what they took. It's how they left.
Right. They didn't take a car. They stole the family's boat, a medium-sized Boston whaler.
And this is the detail that elevates the whole crime. This is the insider knowledge piece.
This is it. The police confirmed how the boat was stolen. Charles's dad, he kept a spare set of keys hidden away, tucked inside a tiny little hatch just below the steering wheel.
A place no one would ever look.
And that key was gone.
The implication is just massive. How could 4 people swimming across a lagoon in the dark know the exact secret location of a spare boat key?
It has to be someone who knew the family, really knew them. A small circle of people, family, maybe a very, very close friend.
It absolutely points to betrayal. This wasn't some random crew of thieves. This was orchestrated by someone with long-term, intimate knowledge of their habits, their schedule, and their secrets.
And just like that, the case went cold, the boat vanishes, the culprits vanish, and it just becomes this hole in the family story.
A total black hole.
And it stayed that way for years. The narrator, Charles, they all went their separate ways until, they run into each other again years later at a high school reunion.
And that chance meeting is what reopens this entire file.
It is. They start talking, the robbery comes up, and Charles says, "You won't believe this, but there's been an update."
But not from the police.
No.
Okay.
The update comes from his younger brother, Kieran, who was 19 at the time this next part happened.
And Kieran's story involves a whole new set of, let's say, questionable decisions.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. So about a year before this reunion, Kieran and two underage friends take the family's new boat, the replacement for the stolen one out on the water.
At night, with beer. So, I mean, right off the bat, they're breaking a few laws.
They are, but it's where they decide to go that really amplifies the risk. They anchor near a place called Carl Island.
Okay, and for anyone who doesn't know, Carl Island is part of the Forsyth Wildlife Refuge.
Yeah.
It is a restricted area, especially at night. It is not a place you go to party.
Their plan was simple, anchor, swim ashore, finish their beers, and watch the stars. They were taking a huge risk, but that recklessness is what led to the crucial sighting.
So they're on the beach.
They're on the beach, just relaxing, and one of Kieran's friends spots another boat. It's anchored a little further down the coast. And as Kieran looks at it, even with the distance and the fading light, he becomes, and I quote, 100% convinced it was their family's old, stolen Boston whaler.
To be that certain, after so many years, the boat must have had some really distinct feature. A custom paint job, a specific scratch, something identifiable.
Something. So Kieran and his friends, they actually swim out to the boat to get a closer look. And they confirm it. Kieran is absolutely certain. But this is where the whole underage drinking and trespassing thing really comes back to bite them.
Yeah. They don't have their phones.
They left their phones back on their own boat. So no pictures, no immediate evidence.
This is just, it's a critical failure. And it leads directly to the next terrifying part of this.
It does. They realize they can't call the police right then. Not because they're afraid of the thieves, but because Kieran is terrified of his parents finding out what they were doing.
So their plan is to swim back to their boat, grab their phones, and then come back for photographic proof.
Right. But as they're walking along the beach, to cut down on the swimming distance, a man appears, and he starts walking toward them.
Just walking.
At first, Charles said Kieran was positive the man picked up speed, that he went from just walking to actively pursuing them.
Okay, that's threatening enough.
But it's what he was carrying that just cemented the terror. He appeared to be holding a shovel.
A shovel. On a restricted island at night next to a stolen boat. That's not a good sign.
No, that was enough. The three of them just sprinted back to their boat, hearts pounding out of their chests.
And the escape must have been agonizing. They can't just floor it and get out of there.
Not at all. New Jersey has strict marine regulations after sunset, speed limits, lighting rules. They had to follow protocol, just slowly, legally pulling away, all while being convinced they were being followed.
Kieran even said he thought he heard the faint sound of another boat's engine behind them in the dark.
Just a terrifying slow-motion escape. So this is where the analysis really begins. Because Kieran, he doesn't call the police.
He's still more afraid of his parents than anything else.
Exactly. But the sighting, the boat, the man with the shovel, it was so unnerving that he confessed everything to his parents the very next day.
Well, maybe not everything.
Right. He conveniently left out the drinking and the trespassing, but he told them the core story.
And his parents did the right thing. They reported the sighting to the authorities. Finally, a break in the case.
You would think. But just like the original incident, absolutely nothing came of it. No immediate patrols sent out, no follow-up from the police, nothing.
And that's a critical pattern, isn't it? Two separate incidents, years apart, both reported, and both times, an official failure to act. It suggests either serious incompetence or something else, something more localized that they're unwilling to touch.
So let's dig into that, like Charles and the narrator did. The first huge question. How is that specific recognizable boat still operating anywhere near LBI years later?
Well, the most plausible theory is that they stripped it or repainted it. But even then, if it had a unique hull number that was reported stolen, it should have been flagged by a patrol at some point.
Unless it was only ever used in very isolated areas.
Which brings us to the second question. Why Carl Island? It's risky. It's a restricted wildlife refuge. Why anchor a stolen boat there?
Well, that's the strategy, isn't it? It's isolated because it's restricted. Most recreation boaters would never go there, especially at night. It's the perfect hiding spot.
It's a safe harbor, hiding in plain sight.
And then there's the big one. The man with the shovel? Was he just, a maintenance worker? Fishing for clams?
I don't think so. The
Yeah.
source is very clear. The boys felt they were being pursued. A shovel on a beach at night next to stolen property. It strongly suggests he was either burying something or digging something up,
Evidence? Contraband?
could be, or he was guarding a stash. Either way, it points to concealment, to intentional criminal activity. The fact that this one figure was more terrifying to these kids than getting arrested tells you everything you need to know about the threat he posed.
The connection just seems inescapable. The crime starts with this intimate insider knowledge to steal the boat. Years later, that same boat is found in an isolated, restricted area, guarded by a suspicious figure. It really implies the thieves weren't just some joyriders.
No, it suggests they're part of a local operation, one that uses the unique geography of the area, these protected refuges, as a shield for their activities.
So what this all really boils down to is a targeted, nearly perfect crime that was enabled by a betrayal. 0 arrests. Then, years later, you get this unverified sighting that suggests whatever was happening is still happening. And the sources, they offer Zemo closure. Instead, they just open up a whole nother can of worms, pointing to this quiet local conspiracy that seems to just shrug off the police twice.
And that leaves us with a final thought to consider. We know the perpetrators were local, that they were connected to the family because they knew about that secret key. So what does it truly imply that the stolen boat was found anchored years later, specifically in a restricted wildlife refuge? Does this confirm that the original robbery was just step one? The first move in a much larger, ongoing local criminal operation that's actually using environmental regulations as a layer of protection.
Thank you so much for sharing the source material for this deep dive. We hope this exploration into targeted theft and this really enduring mystery gives you something to think about, the secrets that can be hidden even in the most familiar of places.